This bridge wasn't built to sit still. In part 1, we tore the M48 AVLB down and prepared it for the work ahead. Now the real transformation begins. This isn't just fresh paint, it's bringing a rare piece of Cold War engineering back to life.
Welcome back, everyone. And what we're going to show you in this next series is how we go from bare metal to full camouflage.
First step, remove everything that doesn't belong. Years of grime, oil, and residue have to come off before we can move forward. Once it's clean, the real surface work begins. The bridge is moved into the blast booth where years of coatings will be stripped away, down to bare metal. Inside the blast booth, the next step is removal, and sometimes discovery.
Before we start, one thing that's cool to note is that there are a lot of markings that are actually on the bridge itself that are covered up by years and years, really decades of paint. So we're going to go ahead and remove those and see what's underneath.
With the paint removed, the bridge begins to tell its story. The lighter colored dots are aluminum rivets fastening a protective steel plate to the aluminum diaphragm beneath. That plate shields the structure as the launcher makes contact during deployment. Markings like curb and panel aren't codes. They're literal descriptions of the bridge components, stamped at the factory along with original part numbers. Additional markings also revealed that this bridge served in both West German and Belgian service before eventually entering the civilian market. We also uncovered compromised weld repairs, something the original bridge manual specifically advised against due to the aluminum alloy used in its construction. Their presence suggests the bridge experienced structural stress or hard use at some point in its lifetime.
Now that the bridge is in the paint booth, we can begin the next phase of our restoration. But before we spray any paint, there's some critical prep work that has to be accomplished. And it is very critical that we do this properly, because if we don't, we could end up with what they call a premature coating failure, and that is just not acceptable.
Before any primer is applied, the bridge has to be completely free of dust and residual blasting grit. Compressed air clears anything that could compromise adhesion. Grinding and sanding smooth out rough areas and hard corners, places where coatings are most likely to fail. We're also taping off select holes and connection points. When the bridge goes back together, we don't want to fight through layers of paint just to reassemble it.
Now that we are done with the cleanup process, it is time to move ahead with the next step of the plan, which of course is primer. Now for the primer, we're going to be using a 2-part epoxy. This is going to help fill in the blast profile, and it's also going to help create a nice surface for when we apply the top coat. So when we apply the primer, we want to work on all the rough or hard to reach areas first. Then we're going to come back and hit all the flat areas. That way we get 100% cover. We're going to start off by hitting the bottom of the structure and slowly but surely working our way up to the top. The top of the bridge is where we're going to finish off, and then we're going to apply the top color.
Now that we've finished priming this half of the bridge, we're ready to move on to the next step of the restoration, which will be applying the top coat, or our first coat of color. So, without further ado, let's put some color on this thing. We just finished spraying the base color for our 4-color MERDC Grey Desert paint scheme. Now you guys have already seen this paint scheme on the launcher itself. We're going to be applying that same color scheme to the bridge. Now how we're going to do that is we take a piece of chalk and we very lightly trace out the pattern on the bridge itself. That way we know what color goes where, and our pattern remains uniform throughout the painting process.
In the 1970s, the U.S. formalized its approach under the Mobility Equipment Research and Design Command, MERDC, standardizing camouflage patterns for different operational environments. The program introduced variations for desert, woodland, tropical, and Arctic terrain, many of which influenced vehicle finishes around the world.
Now that we've sprayed the second color in our MERDC camo paint scheme, we're getting ready to spray the final 2 colors. And so right now we're just kind of visually mapping out how we want to lay those colors out so that it looks correct and so that it's applied in a uniform manner and that our final product is going to look fantastic.
When applying paint, our goal is historical accuracy. We study photographs, archival footage, official publications, even scale models to recreate the look these vehicles carried in service. For this bridge, we chose the Grey Desert MERDC scheme, not only because it reflects its historical era, but because it fits naturally within the landscape surrounding the museum. Stay tuned for episode 3 of the M48 AVLB restoration as we begin reconstruction of the newly refurbished bridge, pairing it back with the bridge layer and deploying it for the first time. Nearly a year after this project began, the system will finally come back together.